Hi everyone, Lisa here. Today I am here with another Saturday Stash Dive episode, and for this month we are going to focus on manual die cutting machines. So you can see here I'm just showing you some of the elements that I'm going to try and use on the layout, and I pulled a lot of stamps which I don't really end up using very many of them, but I pulled them out nonetheless, just because I thought, I had them in my hands and I would try and use them. So while I'm showing you all the products that I'm going to use, and a lot of these items are from the Studio Calico July kit, just so for your information. But for this month, we are going to focus on manual die cutting machines, and that's everything from your big, your Sizzix dies to your embossing folders, to your spellbinder dies, anything to do with a manual die cutter. With the silhouette machines out nowadays, it seems like I gravitate to it quite a bit more, which there's nothing wrong with, but I invested a lot of money into my Big Shot, and it was kind of sitting there collecting dust, and I was feeling a little bit disrespectful to my machine, so to speak, because I had purchased it, but I haven't been using it in quite some time. So after a couple conversations with Sandra, she helped me kind of come to the conclusion that we were going to focus on the manual die cutting machines for this month. So for this episode, I'm focusing on Sizzix dies. So you saw me in the beginning. I had a couple of the bigger ones, and they're all from Tim Holtz, and that's only because I have a mass obsession with Tim Holtz. But I don't use his. I don't really scrapbook his style. But I'm a Tim Holtz collector, and it's just one of my obsessions that I think I have. And then I think I've finally gotten over it because I just don't do that sort of style anymore. So I have a lot of his dies that are just sitting here collecting dust, and I feel really bad that I invested all that money into them and haven't really been using them. So again, like I showed you in the beginning, you had seen on the edge die. So you're going to see this right now. I'm using it. And that just creates this little scallop border along this edge of the piece of paper. That's why it's called an on the edge die. So I'm going to use that. I pulled a couple other ones which I didn't end up using, but I did pull an alpha, which I didn't realize it at the time, and I'll show you when we get to that point. But you have to flip your paper upside down. So the paper that you want to show, you have to put paper side down, that side down, so that it's the right way. And I kind of made that mistake a couple times. So I pulled an alpha. I also pulled the on the edge. I'm trying to think what else I pulled. Couple of other things too, but I don't think I used them. I think it was just the three, actually. I think it was the alpha, the scallop, and then the banner, which I was going to use and I didn't end up using it. So that flower paper is really quite pretty, and I wanted to accentuate the photo a little bit, and there was a lot of clutter going on in the photo. So I felt if I cut the flowers up and kind of brought them in towards the picture and kind of covered up some of the clutter, then it would be a little bit better. Oh, and there you saw I have the letters at the bottom of the page there, all die cut out, and that is again using which one is it? I put it away. I can't remember what. I think it's called vintage something. I don't remember. I'm sorry. If you're looking for that information, I can definitely get that for you. And I used the back side of that floral paper to die cut the word perfect out. And so my title is going to be Perfect Movie Night. And if you look at this picture, it's such a sweet little picture. I mean, there's nothing really overly sweet about it, but it is so sweet because I was laying on the floor and we were watching cartoons because, of course, it was Christmas time. These pictures are from Christmas. And of course, there's so many Christmas cartoons out, and we all decided we were going to watch Christmas cartoons. I think this was Christmas Eve, I do believe. and we all decided we were going to watch some Christmas cartoons, and I laid down on the floor because there wasn't enough room for everybody. So I laid down on the floor, and my two little nieces, they grabbed their blankets and they laid down with me on the floor. It was so awesome. I just loved it. It was so cool. So that is exactly what this title is about. It was just the perfect moment, and it was the perfect movie night. So that's simply what it is. So here you can kind of see me. I cut kind of like one of those little funky strips, so it's like not a straight cut, it's more like a variegated cut. And I'm going to put that up at the top, and that's just going to draw your eye up to the top of the page, because it's going to be a little bit more weighted down to the bottom with the picture and all the embellishments and everything. So that's why I'm doing that. Oh, and here's what else I used. I used this butterfly. This is also from Tim Holtz, and I cut them out of that chevron, that gray chevron. And I think I only used 2 of them. Yes, I do. I tried to put one over by the title because I felt like it needed something, but it just didn't work. So, yeah. I end up using 2, but I'll end up cutting another one, and I tried doing like coloring one with some markers, and it just didn't work very well, but that's okay. Doesn't hurt to try things, that's for sure. So again, here I'm just playing around with some placement of some things. And here's where you can see I cut out 2 more of those butterflies. And it was the blue triangle paper that I used in my last layout I think I did. I think it was the layout challenge that I did with Sandra. And I just used the backside, which was a blue and white dot. And it just felt like it was going to be a little bit plain on the background. So I'm going to address that up later, but right now I'm going to start kind of putting things down. First I'm going to cut that branding strip off, which I didn't do, and I'm going to start outlining things. And I pulled out my distress markers, which again, this is one of those things that I've purchased and I just don't seem to use them as often as I should. So here I'm taking the pumice stone, which it didn't really outline very well, so I'm going to go back in and I'm going to find the walnut stain, and the walnut stain is going to be quite a bit darker. You can just see I'm doing some tests up on the top part of the page. And again, just kind of outlining everything with that walnut stain. I didn't want to do black because there was no black anywhere else in the layout, so I just didn't want to make it too heavy. So again, just outlining into everything in the walnut stain. And that background piece is over top of like the photo mat. Is from Travel Girl. I don't remember which paper it is, but it's a Travel Girl paper. And then I'm going to outline my background paper, and this is a Studio Calico paper, and it's the one with the speech bubbles on the back. And I wish I would have had 2 pieces of paper of this, because I definitely would have used the other side as well, but just because it was there, rather than hoarding it, I figured I would just use it. So I'm not disappointed that I used it, because I love how this layout turned out. And that scallop just kind of draws your eye into the photo. Just going to put that little strip up at the top. And then it was just overhanging a little bit, so I just cut the top, the little bit of the overhang off. And here I'm just kind of thinking that it needs a little bit of something kind of to ground the photo, because there's going to be a lot of layers, so I was kind of looking for something to ground it. So but here I'm just kind of playing around with placement of stuff, but I'm kind of keeping my eye on embellishments as I'm working through stuff. And then that's where I kind of figured out I haven't done anything with my washi tape, but here I think I'm going to stamp something first. Yes. Okay, so here's the speech bubble that has, like, you could stamp the speech bubble and then you can stamp the word love in the middle. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to use some charcoal, soft granite and charcoal ink. So the soft granite is a little bit of a lighter of a gray. So I'm going to use that as the background, and then I'm going to stamp the love in the charcoal, and it's going to be a little bit darker. So it's going to be a tone on tone look, but it's really quite pretty. And you can kind of see me doing that here. And when I cut it out, it has this really long kind of tail on it. It's supposed to look like a speech bubble. And I didn't like how awkward it was shaped. So I'm actually going to kind of cut that off. So it's going to be like a very weird oblong oval or a weird circle. So that it makes it fit a little better. It just felt a little weird. So here you can see me just kind of fussy cutting that out. And the little cork piece says this, so it's going to say love this. And then that little piece there is from a basic grade capture line, and it says take a picture, it lasts longer. And I know we used to say that in school, you know, like in a derogatory sense, but I think this kind of speaks well of it on a more positive spin, because this was such a cool moment. I had only been to my sister's place a few days, and the girls warmed up to me so well. I've never met my one niece before, and my other niece, I think the last time I saw her, she was 1. So in essence, they really don't remember me. And I think this was the second night I was there, and we were watching these movies, and they cuddled up with me. So that was a really special moment for me because you know, it was just so tender, and they wanted to spend time with their auntie, and it was so cool. Just warmed my heart. So that's why it's very important that, you know, you take a picture, it lasts longer, because then I can always remember this moment. So here I'm just adding some washi tape up the top and at the bottom. And that rose washi tape, at first I was kind of skeptical as to whether I would like it. I mean, it's pretty, but I wasn't sure how well it would fit in with the papers that they gave us in this month's kit. And actually, I really like it. It's really pretty washi tape. So I think that's one of my new faves. And I pulled up, oh, pardon me, I'm yawning. It's so nice outside. I really don't want to be inside right now. And I'm yawning because we've been sitting outside all day long, and I think the sun is starting to hit me finally. But yeah, I had lifted that kind of that bracket piece off because it was a little weird. So I figured if I put the picture down first and then I tucked that bracket in underneath that, then I would be able to make it a little level better. I don't know. That's bad wordage. Sorry. But yes, I would make it sit better on the page. So here I'm just again putting the title down and making sure that's where I want it to go. And those are those October afternoon letters. And I have a lot of those 12 by 12 letter sheets from October afternoon. I got into a little phase there where I had to collect them all, and I don't think I've used very many of them. And I really, really like these ones. They're such a soft blue, and they have this little hint of, I think it's like a pink on it, if I remember right, and it's really pretty. I know I said that about this whole page, but it really is quite a cute page. I quite like it. And again, just fussing with the placement of those flowers up at the top. And there's this little wooden tag that says today, and I really, really want to use it. So it does actually find a home, but it's not, I have it right by that movie part of the title, and I'm going to move that later. But down here, I'm just fussing with these butterflies up at the top of the page, and I'm going to use that gray one. I wasn't sure which one I was going to use. And I just put glue on one side and I put pop dots on the other side just to kind of give it a little bit of dimension. And here is the offcut of that bracket. I was going to try and see if I could use it on this other side, but it just looked a little weird. So I'm just actually going to cut a strip off of it and then tuck it behind so it kind of looks like it's this giant, almost like tag, decorative tag behind the photo. So that was my thinking anyway. And just again, gonna pop dot some some of the flowers, that big flower cluster on the side of the photo, just so it gives it a little bit of dimension, because it's going to sit, that one leaf is going to sit over top of the end just a little bit. So if you put it up on pop dots, it just kind of doesn't feel so flat. It gives it a little bit of movement on the page. So, and then I have that little camera, which is so cute. So I know the camera kind of looks like it should be like on a more funner layout, not such a girlier layout, but actually I really think it works on this page. It's really quite pretty. I know, I've said that this whole layout. I really apologize. Oh, goodness sakes. So again, I'm just layering all these flowers up on the top again, and I added pop dots to that one as well. And here I'm going to do my journaling, and you guys know I always fast forward through my journaling. So we're going to fast forward through that. And all my journaling is exactly what I had said in the first part of the video, is that it was just about my niece and how excited or how cool it was that they would lay down and watch the movie with me. And here I'm going to take these alphas, and at first I'm going to make them level with the photo frame, but then I'm going to realize kind of halfway through when I'm putting my letters down that it doesn't really sit right. It kind of breaks the lineup of the letters. So I'm actually going to push them up and put them up on the top, on the gray part of the chevron, and then it sits quite a bit better. It just gives your eye a little bit easier time to read it. So you can see that looks quite a bit better. And I'm using my dot adhesive, so that way if there's anything that's left over around the sides of it, I can just rub it off. So I fast forwarded that part, but you saw me for a split second there. I was rubbing my finger over top of it, getting that dot adhesive off. And again, I'm fussing with this flower placement over on this side. I know, it's crazy. I've fussed with this so many times. So here's where I realized that Love This is not going to sit right up there. So I move it down towards the bottom and kind of tuck it underneath those flowers, and that looks quite a bit better. So that makes me a little bit happier. And here I'm just kind of fiddling around with these butterflies again. I was trying to get 3 in here, but they just were a little bit too big. So here you see I had that gray one off to the side, and I tried using that one, but it just didn't sit very well. So I'm going to outline this one with that walnut stain, distress stain marker. And I go over it a couple times just to emphasize the outline, as well as if you outline it twice, it doesn't make it look like you screwed up on the outline. It makes it look like you intentionally did it like that. If that makes sense. That sounded like a really bad description. Okay, my goodness. The sun's been getting to me, obviously. So yeah, oh, I guess I didn't put that butterfly down. Here I'm putting that butterfly down. So you can see I put the foam dots on the one side of it. So it kind of looks like it's, you know, got its wing up, so to speak. And here I'm gluing down that cork. I just used my dot adhesive. I figured that would probably be good enough to hold it in place. So I've got the part that says Love This. I'm going to cut off the extra pieces. And here I keep coming back to this little wooden tag, and I really wanted to use it on this layout, and it was just so frustrating. I couldn't find a right spot for it. Now again, I'm going to put it over by these flowers, and I moved the flowers around again just to try to see if I can make it work, and it still didn't sit very well. So I eventually move it over by the camera, but for right now I'm going to put those flowers down and then glue the other ones underneath. So it looks very dimensional. It looks like, well, that one pink flower is popped up, so it gives it quite a bit of dimension. So here finally I tuck that wooden piece in behind that camera, and it looks a lot better there. So I'm happy with that placement. And I just had this extra leaf because it felt a little unbalanced, so I just tucked that in underneath those flowers. And then I take this other flower and I put it exactly the same spot as where I had it, and it just didn't want to go back in there. So I had to really kind of fuss with it to make it sit back down and where I had it originally. I don't know what happened. I must have had it in between the layers, and I was struggling a little bit. So anyway, that's where that other butterfly went. And I only used two. I tried using one on the other side. It was just a little too big, so that's why I didn't use it. And I'm pulling off these little stickers from the Travel Girl sticker sheet, and the one has a camera on it, and this one has daily news, I think it says. And then I'm sticking this other sticker down that has another camera on it. So I have 3 cameras that are going to balance everything off. And here I'm going to my sequins, and these are again from the Studio Calico kit. And I'm just going to kind of not really throw them on the page, but going to place them down where I think they should go. And then I'm going to end up gluing them down later, but I'm just going to leave them on the page for a little bit. And they're like this really almost like a fuchsia pink, and kind of like this not quite gold, almost like a mustard yellow, but because they're like an iridescent, they're really quite pretty. I would not really think of putting those 2 colors together, and they look really awesome together. And that's what I love about these kits, is things that I wouldn't normally think would go together. They end up going so well, and they work out so awesome. So I love how they do that. I wish I was that talented. Some days I am, some days not. So here I'm just putting down these sequins with some glossy accents and just being really quick about it. And what am I doing? I don't remember. Oh, right. I'm pulling out some brads. I decided I was going to try and use up some of these brads. Brads are one of those things that I just don't seem to use often enough. I have lots in my stash, but definitely don't use them. So you might want to see that on another Saturday Stash Dive focus. So that might be in some upcoming months. So I pulled out this one. Well, I pulled out 2, I think. I think that's all I pulled out. Yes. So I pulled out a blue and white stripe one. Well, I guess it's kind of a cream color, and I have to pull the other one out because I don't remember what it had on it. Oh, it had a little flower, so that's going to add a floral element over by the camera, just to kind of pull everything in together. And then this blue one, I was kind of struggling where to put it, so it actually fit perfectly in this camera lens, which added that a little bit of dimension to that camera. So I really liked how that turned out. And I'm going to apologize in advance right now. I thought I did some close-ups on the video, and I didn't. So you'll have to stay tuned for the pictures to see what they look like. And I don't know what I was thinking. I guess I was trying to do 1,001 things, and didn't end up working very well. And here I have a little label, and this is actually cut off from a couple episodes ago, and it just added a little bit of flair to it. So I really like how this layout turned out. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned next Saturday for another episode. Bye!